Greetings from Tickle Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you yet again another Ultimate Fighter Live episode recap right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly, as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Ultimate Fighter Live episode recap. So, this week's matchup, we have Chris Tickle from Team Cruz facing off against Joe Proctor from Team Faber. And as I've done in the past with my Ultimate Fighter Live recaps, I'm going to address each fighter and then of course the coaches, the team, the training process, and then I'm going to give you all my thoughts on the fight and then my predictions for next week's fight. So first off, I want to address something about both fighters. It seems like this week both fighters really did make it. They really did take the initiative to focus on their striking as a serious part of their training, which I actually enjoyed, and I was actually really looking forward to the fight, seeing as how both of them wanted to bang it out with one another. So I thought that was really cool. But as far as each fighter specifically, what they were preparing for, first off, starting with Chris Tickle and Team Cruz, they wanted to make sure that Chris could defend against Proctor's takedowns, and so of course submission defense, takedown defense, submission defense, that was a huge part of his training. On the opposite end of that, with Joe Proctor and Team Faber, they wanted to make sure that two things. Number one, that Joe would be able to make it through, to weather the early storm, as they put it, to make it through Chris's initial burst of energy early on in the fight. And the second was to, of course, use his superior grappling to secure the win. And both coaches, I think, did a really good job. Especially, I want to do. I really want to acknowledge Dominic Cruz and his approach to. Well, actually, no. I gotta acknowledge both the coaches, because Dominic Cruz, what he did was he didn't want to change anything. He didn't want Tickle to do anything that normally or naturally he wouldn't do. He wanted Tickle to kind of fight his own fight, which major props to Dominic Cruz for that. But on the flip side of that, Uriah Faber, one thing that I really did like was that even though Proctor is a jiu-jitsu specialist, and that's his forte, he didn't mind the fact that Proctor wanted to bang it out, and he worked with him on the stand-up game. He wanted Proctor to bang it out, so acknowledge him for that. And then of course, let's talk about the fight. The fight ended in the first round, of course, with the rear neck choke, and I will say that for the most part, I think that early on in the fight, both fighters did a great job in executing their plans. However, well, let me talk about that. What I mean is this: I think that Tickle did a good job with his burst. Every time he was throwing, throwing them punches, throwing those combos, and he always ended every assault with one strike. I noticed that even though Proctor was blocking most of those attacks, he always got that last one in. Either it was a last minute hook or it was a last minute kick. So he did a good job with that. And also with the first two takedown attempts, I thought he did a really good job in utilizing the cage to reverse it. And especially when they locked up, though I wish Tickle would have thrown more knees, but when he started utilizing those uppercuts when they were locked up against the cage, I thought he did a really good job with that. On the flip side of that, Proctor, he looked real confident, he looked real good, he looked real relaxed in the octagon, and of course, the first two failed takedown attempts didn't bother him at all. He just rolled with the punches. He was getting hit by Tickle, I will admit, whenever they got real tight, but I think he did a good job in recovering from it. And same thing, every time Tickle came, bam, 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 Proctor responded. He didn't just take the damage, he didn't just take that punishment. He was throwing too. So real good job with that. And also I think Proctor's footwork was really good as well. And of course, but Proctor came through with the victory. Of course, he all it took was that one. All it took was that one grapple, that one takedown, and then rear neck. So I thought Proctor did a really good job, and he finished it quickly. He didn't let it go to the scorecards, and I thought he did a really good job with that. So, as far as predictions go, I predicted Proctor would come away with the win, and so that would put me at 4-1 for my prediction so far. Pretty good, pretty good. All right, so next week's fight we have for Team Faber. We have, I believe his name was John Kofer, versus for Team Cruz we have Vic. How do you pronounce that last name? It's on the tip of my tongue. You know what? I don't want to get his. I don't want to mispronounce his last name. It's on the tip of my tongue though. I promise. As soon as I turn off this camera, it's going to come to me, which kind of ticks me off. But okay, so my prediction for next week's fight, I'm going to have to go with Vic for Team Cruz. Main reason, number one, height difference. That would give Vic a reach advantage, which I know last time I based a prediction on reach advantage, I came up short. I know that, but I don't have much info on these guys, so I just got to go with what I see. Also, I think Vic's biggest key to victory, and I'm not talking about like his game plan, I'm talking about one of the biggest advantages he has stepping into the octagon is, you can tell from his expression, he's hungry. And of course, Team Cruz have lost 3 straight now. They're hungry for a win. I think Vic is going to come in there very aggressive. I think he's going to come in there with the mindset to get the job done. I think he's going to be looking to secure a victory rather than a decision win. And I think he is amped up to take a win, to bring it back home to Team Cruz and to put the game back into their favor. So I'm going with Vic for next week for my prediction. But anywho, I want to thank you all for joining me again this week for another Ultimate Fighter Live episode recap. And as always, in the comments below, let me know what you all think about your thoughts on the fight and even your predictions for next week's fight. But with that said, I'm going to sign this video off. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off until next time. Peace.